Meeting recorded.
A park program assistant, and I want to thank you for coming and spending some time in the afternoon here. So here in Sonoma County, we have an incredible amount of biodiversity, and so we're going to be talking a little bit about the flowers that are unique to Sonoma County, a few of them that are unique to here, as well as ones that we can see just about anywhere, our backyards, on the creek trails, maybe even growing through the sidewalk, and why we have such a variety of flowers. We have an incredible amount of diversity of ecosystems. We have the Russian River and the redwoods. We have oak woodlands, the coast. We have chaparral and conifer forests. And so all these different habitats allow for plant animals to really thrive wherever they need to be to live. So in Sonoma County, we have over 2,000 native plant species, plants that are native to California, 22 species of endangered plants, and 5 endangered animal species. So this tells us that they are getting what they need to survive, what all living things need to survive. They're getting food, water, shelter, and space. Space is a really important thing that all animals and plants need to survive. Our open space is great. We have a lot of it, and that helps give these plants and animals places to continue doing their thing. There are also 20 species which are endemic, meaning that they're specific to Sonoma County and only found within Sonoma County or sometimes in neighboring areas. Plants go about county lines, and so on maps we may see them in neighboring counties or sometimes even further off, but 20 species that are specific to our county here. So we're going to be looking at 3 plants that are endangered, endemic, specific to Sonoma County, or rare, and then we're going to move on to plants that we can find more broadly throughout the county. So our first one is a really cute little plant called Sonoma Sunshine. It is found naturally. It's endemic to Sonoma County. They grow in vernal pools, which are seasonal bodies of water, and in wet grassland areas. They're an endangered flower here in California. Their habitat is mostly threatened by urban and agricultural development. You can see here on the map that they're pretty much exclusively within Sonoma County, with these 2 exceptions. Their Latin name, Leno, comes from Greek, which means slimy seed, and so we can see here on the inside that this looks like it might be kind of sticky. This flower is a type of ceanothus. Many people know ceanothus as California lilac. California lilac is common throughout the state. It has these clusters of small purpley flowers. They smell so sweet, and the bees absolutely love them. Those are dark and waxy looking. In Sonoma County, there are 3 types of ceanothus that are specific to us. They're endemic. This plant has been seen at places like Hood Mountain Regional Park. And then, of course, it has a few of these spots that it has been seen outside of the county. Our last unique and rare flower is called the Serpentine bird's beak. So this flower, as the name tells us, is found in serpentine soils. Those that live in serpentine soils are very specialized because serpentine habitat has very little nutrients. So if you garden, you probably know that all plants need nitrogen to survive, and so we rotate our crops, right? We plant things that return nitrogen to the soil so that our crops that we plant our next time can really thrive. They have that nitrogen available, but in serpentine environments, there isn't a ton of nitrogen, so plants are really competing for it, or they find other ways to get the nutrients that they need. What this plant does is it steals nitrogen from its neighboring plants, so it's considered a hemiparasite because it is stealing nutrients, but not so much that it's going to kill its neighbors. These plants have very limited distribution. These are the only places they've been documented as being seen. And they're on the endangered watch list, and so those open spaces, those serpentine environments that it has are really important so that it can continue to survive in the areas that it does. We have done the rare, endangered, unique flowers. Something I want to tell you quick about this flower is that it blooms in July and August. And so that is exciting for us. It's been seen at Hood Mountain, and so hopefully later in the summer we'll be able to get out there into other parts of where it has been spotted. So those are some of the unique flowers. But what about flowers we can see near where we are, maybe in our yards or along those creek trails, even on the sidewalks? So we're going to talk about those. And we're going to play a game with them. So I'm not going to tell you the name immediately. I'm going to think about the flower and take a look at it, and you think what animal you think it might be named after. So this is a small flower. It's a darkish pink, purpley color. They grow maybe 10 inches to a foot tall at most. This is what it looks like when it doesn't have flowers. So we can see these long, pointed parts. This is actually the fruit of the flower, and what is this fruit will drop and come off at some point, and this bottom part of the fruit, when it comes off, are the little seeds that we can see of this flower. So take a moment and think about what animal, based on what you're noticing and observing about this plant, it could be named after. You can share with a loved one at home, or if you feel so inclined, you can put your thoughts in the chat box. See someone guessed hedgehog. Nice. Creative. I like it. Guesses out there that you'd like to share? Okay, so this flower is after long, pointy-beaked birds. It has a lot of different common names that people will refer to it by. I've always known it as storkbill fillery, named for its fruits, long, pointed fruits that come off of the plant. And maybe you think of it as a weed. There's tons of it growing kind of through my driveway, like next to a tree between the pavement. So it's kind of fun because you can see it in tons of different places. And hopefully if you do see it and you think of it as a weed, maybe next time you'll decide that instead of chopping it down, you'll look just a little closer at it because it is kind of a neat little flower there. So our next flower that we can see in lots of different places, it prefers places that have mostly sun, maybe a little bit of shade, places where they can get water. They do like water, but they don't live necessarily in like wetland environments. So take this one. This is such a bright and beautiful, cheery flower. It has these pointed, broad leaves. Imagine what you think they would feel like if you touched them. About what flower this might be. You guessed it. It is Mules Ear. A few good guesses. So one of my favorite flowers named after one of my favorite animals. The city of Mules Ear has these big, pointed, very fuzzy leaves. There's several different types of mule's ear that we have here. There's a type where the flowers do look similar. They are easy to find when they're in bloom. Yes, I saw that comment. It's very true. There's one type here that has narrower leaves, but the flowers do look similar. So you might see the one with narrow leaves. That's called narrow leaf mule's ear. Very easy to remember. And our last one, probably very familiar to a lot of us. But instead of this flower being named for the way it looks, it is named for something that people have thought about it, how we have thought about what role in the environment was like. So this plant, people used to think it was bad for the environment. It ruined it. We differently. Think for an animal that people have thought also ruins the environment and bad for it. Differently. Think about it, make your guesses. Did we guess correctly? So fine. It's named after Latin for wolf, which is lupus, because as I said, people for a long time thought that this plant was bad for the environment, but we know now that it's actually great for the ecosystem. It returns nitrogen back into the soil, which provides that essential nutrient for the plants that live around it. It's a member of the pea family, like the peas we eat. So we see in here another type of flower, very similar. Similar looking, sorry. It's also in the pea family. It's called a vetch, and you will see them growing together oftentimes. To what we looked at in the beginning, if you came early, you might have seen this sort of guessing game. So these are all pretty common around the area. The fruit right now, we're seeing those dark, really wavy looking leaves. We're not seeing the flowers yet. The flowers don't come until later in the summer, and they only open at night. So in the day you'll see them close. They might be a lightish pink white, and then they'll open up as it starts to get later in the day, and they'll stay open at night. This mill flower, the scarlet pimpernel, is another one of those that you might think of as a weed. You might see it in your lawn, near your garden, and it's not native. It's not a native species. It's really a cute little flower. If you look up close to it the next time, again, another one of those don't pull it things. Next time you think maybe I want to pull this, before you do, if you really want to, look close at it and just notice the different colors it has and the detail. This one is fun. It closes up at night, much like our California poppies. And so what it does is when the sun goes away, it closes up and it doesn't open again until the sun comes back. So there's tons of this in the little garden patch in front of my house where I live, and even mid-morning before the sun hits it, it'll still be kind of closed up. Last one is wild radish. We can see this from pretty much anywhere, right? We see it along the roads. Any area that's kind of been a little bit disturbed is what it likes, and it has a lot of colors that it comes in. It's white, yellow, pink, dark pink, a little bit purplish. And once I was walking and I saw a hummingbird go up to it. I never knew the hummingbirds liked it, and I saw tons of butterflies. I saw swallowtails going up to it too. So not native, but it has found a way into the ecosystem, and other members of the ecosystem do now use this flower. Just a few pictures of flowers I've seen on walks just very close to where I live. maybe to give you some inspiration to look a little closer at those flowers that maybe before you just kind of walked past. Because if you look close at them, even the little bitty ones, they're pretty interesting. I think I've talked about this, right? If you have a yard, maybe look among those weeds or those taller patches of grass before you mow it, see what's there. If you have the creek trails close to you, exploring those and looking at flowers you might have walked past. And then a couple of books that might be interesting, and these are two really good reference books for wildflowers in the area. And then this is just a good read if you're interested in more of a story. So at this point, I'd love to go to Christina and see what's been going on in the chat box. Any questions out there?
Hi, Stephanie. Great to see you. Welcome, everyone. Two questions right now. First one is the picture of the lupin that you showed everybody. Do you know what kind of lupin that is?
A great question, and you know, I actually don't. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay, great. The other question is, do you know any of the other kinds of lupins? It sounds like there's different types out there. Are there any other types that you might know of?
So in California, it's kind of neat. There's over 50 different kinds of lupin, so I don't know all of those, but a few, there's miniature lupin, which looks very similar to that picture you saw, except as you can imagine by the name, right? They're miniature. The flowers are a bit smaller. They don't get as tall. There's silver bush lupin, which again the name tells us a lot about the flower. It has these silvery tinged leaves, and it grows more as a bush. Those two that are coming to me right now, but I really recommend looking online. Now is a great time to do our research, looking at all of those different types of lupin that are out there.
Stephanie, another question came in about you could identify the flowers that you showed on that last slide.
Sure. So this here is this is a type of iris, and to be honest with you, it's kind of stumping me because I've been looking in my trusty guidebooks and haven't found something that completely matches it, description or color-wise. I'm moving towards a Purdy's iris, like it's really purdy. That might lean, but it's definitely a type of iris. This is called the salsify. I like that name a lot. This one is a yellow gland weed, of course, California poppies. This is me-flowered stickseed, and this is a wild radish. I thought the color was really interesting. I hadn't seen one that deep of a like peach purple before.
Great, thanks, Stephanie. And then someone also wanted to throw out there that there's also the white lupin.
Yeah, the color variations are so cool in flowers. You can see tons of different colors throughout a lot of kinds of flowers. Yeah.
Great. Well, it looks like that's all I've got on our end.
Okay. Well, thank you once again for joining and deciding to spend a little bit of your afternoon. If you loved the program and you've enjoyed other programs that the Parks has put on, we invite your support at Sonoma County Parks Foundation. Thank you once again, and I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.